My daughter with the richest man loves a poor farmer with nothing. The village laughed. They said it was, but no one predicted what happened. This is the story of Adaeze and Chinedu, a love story that shook an entire village.
In the quiet village of Umudike, where dusty paths wound through rows of mud houses and tall palm trees swayed in the wind, there lived a man whose name everyone knew. Chief Okafor. He was the richest man in the entire village. His compound was so large that people joked you could get lost inside it. He owned many lands, countless cattle, and traders from neighboring villages came to seek his favor. But above all his wealth, Chief Okafor had only one child, his daughter, Adaeze. Adaeze was known throughout the village not only for her beauty, but also for her kindness. Her skin glowed like polished bronze under the sun, and her smile could soften even the hardest heart. Many wealthy young men came to her father's compound asking for her hand in marriage. Sons of chiefs, sons of merchants, even princes from distant villages. But Adaeze refused them all. What nobody knew was that Adaeze's heart already belonged to someone else. Someone the entire village considered unworthy. A poor farmer. His name was Chinedu. Chinedu lived at the edge of the village in a small hut made of clay and thatch. He owned no land of his own and worked as a laborer on other people's farms. He woke before sunrise every morning, carrying his old hoe across his shoulder as he walked to the fields. Despite his poverty, Chinedu had something rare, a gentle spirit. He helped elderly villagers without expecting payment. He shared food even when he barely had enough for himself. But kindness did not impress most people. To them, he was simply the poor farmer, the man who had nothing. One evening, as the golden sun dipped low behind the hills, Adaeze walked quietly toward the river with a clay pot balanced on her head. But she wasn't going there to fetch water. She was going to see Chinedu. Under the shade of a large mango tree near the riverbank, Chinedu waited nervously. When Adaeze finally appeared, his face lit up. "Adaeze," he said softly. She smiled and sat beside him. For months, they had been meeting in secret like this, sharing stories, laughter, and dreams. Adaeze loved how Chinedu treated everyone with respect. He never boasted, never insulted anyone, and never allowed his poverty to turn him bitter. And Chinedu loved Adaeze not because she was rich, but because she saw him as a human being when the rest of the world saw nothing. But they both knew one truth. If Chief Okafor discovered their secret, everything would change. One unlucky evening, their secret did not remain hidden. A group of young men passing near the river saw Adaeze sitting with Chinedu. Their eyes widened in disbelief. The rich man's daughter with a poor farmer? The news spread through the village like wildfire. By the next morning, everyone was talking about it. When Chief Okafor finally heard the rumor, his face turned red with anger. "Bring that useless farmer to my compound," he shouted. Villagers gathered around Chief Okafor's compound, eager to watch the drama unfold. Chinedu was brought before Chief Okafor. The chief looked at him with deep disgust. "So, you are the rat that dares to chase my daughter?" he said coldly. Chinedu lowered his head but did not run. "I love Adaeze," he said quietly. The crowd gasped. Chief Okafor burst into laughter. "You love my daughter? What do you have to offer her? Poverty?" The villagers joined the laughter. But Chinedu remained calm. "Love," he said. That answer only made them laugh louder. Chief Okafor then gave a cruel order. "If you ever come near my daughter again, I will make sure you leave this village forever." Adaeze cried, but her father dragged her inside the compound. And just like that, the lovers were separated. A few weeks later, Chief Okafor arranged a marriage for Adaeze with the son of another wealthy chief. The wedding preparations began immediately. Adaeze refused to eat. She refused to smile. But her father did not care. To him, reputation was more important than happiness. Meanwhile, Chinedu continued working in the fields, pretending nothing had changed. But every night, he sat alone under the mango tree by the river, waiting, hoping. 3 days before the wedding, something unexpected happened. A violent storm struck the village. Thunder roared through the sky as rain poured down like rivers. Suddenly, news spread that Chief Okafor had collapsed inside his compound. The richest man in the village was dying. Villagers rushed to help, but none of the herbalists could stop the sickness. Chief Okafor lay on his bed, struggling to breathe. Then, someone whispered something surprising. There is one man who might save him, Chinedu. You see, during his years working in the fields and forests, Chinedu had learned herbal medicine from an old traveler, but no one had taken him seriously before. Now, they had no choice. A messenger ran through the rain to find him. Chinedu, when he arrived at the hut, he delivered the news. Chief Okafor is dying. Only you may be able to save him. Chinedu froze. The same man who humiliated him, the same man who threatened to banish him. He could simply refuse. But after a long moment, Chinedu grabbed his bag of herbs. Take me to him, he said. Inside the compound, villagers watched in silence as Chinedu prepared a mixture of powerful herbs. Adaeze stood beside her father's bed, tears streaming down her face. When she saw Chinedu, her heart nearly broke. Carefully, he gave the herbal medicine to the chief. Minutes passed. Then suddenly, Chief Okafor's breathing became steady. The sickness began to fade. The room fell silent in shock. The poor farmer had done what no one else could. He saved the richest man in the village. When Chief Okafor finally regained his strength days later, he called for Chinedu. The young farmer stood quietly before him. For the first time, Chief Okafor did not look at him with anger. He looked at him with respect. You saved my life, Chief Okafor said slowly. Chinedu nodded. I only did what was right. Chief Okafor turned to look at his daughter. Adaeze was holding Chinedu's hand. And suddenly, the chief understood something he had been blind to before. Wealth could buy many things, but not loyalty, not kindness, not true love. The entire village gathered once again in Chief Okafor's compound, but this time something shocking happened. Chief Okafor stood before the crowd and made an announcement. My daughter will marry the man who saved my life. Gasps filled the air. And that man is Chinedu. The villagers could not believe their ears. The poor farmer they once mocked was now becoming the chief's son-in-law. Adaze's tears turned into joyful laughter as she hugged Chinedu. And for the first time, the village looked at the farmer with admiration instead of ridicule. Months later, the wedding of Adaeze and Chinedu became the greatest celebration the village had ever seen. Chief Okafor later gave Chinedu land to farm, and with his hard work, the once poor farmer became one of the most respected men in the region. And the villagers finally learnt a lesson that lasted generations. Never judge a person by their wealth, because sometimes the poorest man may have the richest heart. And that is how the poor farmer everyone laughed at became the man the entire village respected. Not not because he became rich, but because he proved something powerful. That true wealth is not measured by money, land, or status. It is measured by kindness, courage, and the goodness of your heart. Chinedu had nothing when the story began, but in the end, he gained something greater than riches: love, respect, and a family that truly valued him. And the people of Umudike never forgot that lesson. Because sometimes the person the world looks down on today may become the one everyone admires tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. And if you enjoy powerful African folk tales and emotional stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next story. Because here, every story teaches a lesson, and every lesson can change a life. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next story.